So,
Yeah.
good evening, Masar. Uh,
Good
so,
evening.
uh, I'm Tommy Reyes, board president of ASEA. This is Masar. He is a student at Woodbury University. Welcome,
Yep.
Masar.
Interesting.
And um, so we'd like to just discuss your first year's experience and transferring into Woodbury.
Yeah.
So, what was transferring into Woodbury like?
It's just it was a great experience. I think it was a transformation from being at Fullerton College where they teach you what architecture is, and then you transform into doing architecture. That's what transferring to Woodbury was like. What I mean by that, just to go through some details, at Fullerton College, they taught us the materials, how to actually design buildings that are buildable in real life. Um, but in Woodbury, we actually got to do that. So we had project managers, we had other students from other studio classes joined us and started designing something that could actually happen in real life. That includes studying the site, floor plan, you know, test the weather, see how our building should circulate with the weather and people and traffic and all that. So my first experience, even though it was online, I thought it was a great one because, as I said, I was turning that imagination into reality
Hmm.
more than I did in Fullerton.
Hmm.
So I think that's what made a difference transferring from Fullerton to Woodbury.
To Woodbury. Okay. So you had to have a portfolio to transfer?
Yeah, I had to have a portfolio to transfer from Fullerton to Woodbury.
Any other things that you had to have to transfer? Letters of recommendation or
All of these other things were optional.
okay.
So the only thing that was not optional is the portfolio. You have to have that. And then I went to this workshop and they said if we see that students know how to do floor plans in an enough good way, um, that's you automatically skip in 1 year. So
Mm,
I encourage students to focus on their floor plans because they said something like, "What's the point of making something beautiful from the exterior,
right.
but your floor plan is not buildable or you can't have people in it?"
Right.
So they said, even though your project is dynamic and all that, we still look at the floor plans and see floor plans and site plans and see if you actually have a good understanding of what that is. So I really encourage students to focus on that as well.
Mm,
Because when I was at Fullerton, to be honest, I always focused on how to make my building so dynamic and beautiful from the exterior, from the outside.
right.
I never put as much effort as the inside of it, the floor plan. So
Right.
I encourage students to do that. So
Okay. So that's one of the things that you recommend that, or one of the
yes,
things that you looking back, you wish you would have focused on.
yes.
Mm.
And then looking back, I was gonna talk about this more if you allow me.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
So I mean,
yeah,
what other things that? Yeah, actually, that was going to be my next question. Looking back at your community college experience and the years that
yeah.
you went
Looking
through,
back,
what else would you have changed? If
I
you could go
would,
back and tell yourself, "Hey, Masar, you should focus on this and that and this and that."
uh, I would definitely taught myself how to use Rhino.
Mm,
Rhino is a software that all students at Woodbury University who are in the architecture department are using. They're using that software, Professor Tommy, from the moment they start in Studio One until they finish in Studio 10.
Wow.
They use Rhino. They don't give you the option. I'm not saying it's optional. You have to use it.
Wow.
Because in my first, yeah, it's not optional. You have to use it. If you don't use it, you're not gonna get graded. Even if you get the project done and send it to your professor or instructor in a SketchUp file or a Revit file, they'll be like, that's it. As long as like as soon as they see that the file is in Revit or SketchUp, they don't accept it. They give you a zero. That's it. So
Wow.
you have to, yeah. I need to focus on this more for the upcoming students who are going to transfer to Woodbury.
Yeah.
Learn how to use Rhino because I was in a big trouble, right? Because as a transfer student, they already expected me to know how to use Rhino. They didn't teach me how to use Rhino. So
Wow.
if you start from the beginning at Woodbury, let's say you finish high school, you go straight to university, which is Woodbury. They teach you in Studio One how to use Rhino a little bit. Like they give you an introduction, they show you videos, they sit on your laptops and computer and help you doing your projects. They give you really easy projects that only teach you how to use Rhino. Like they don't give you projects that that are architectural projects, right? Like they don't be like, oh, go design a commercial building or hotel or something. They give you those little small projects that are enough for you to use all the tools in Rhino in order for you to learn it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to get that help because I was transferring from college and they already expected me to know all these things. I even told my instructor, I was like, is there a way that I could use any other software than Rhino? All of my instructors said no, you have to use Rhino. I was like, well, I'm a transfer student and I haven't even downloaded Rhino on my laptop before. They go like, well, you are in big trouble. That's literally what they said. You are in big trouble. They said you are in big trouble and you are going to struggle a lot throughout the whole semester.
Wow.
See, I mean, I think Rhino is my number one software right now. It's a really great software. So just to encourage people to learn it, it's a really beautiful software. It's really easy to learn. It's basically a mix between Revit and AutoCAD because you could do 2D drawings and you could do 3D dimensional, 3D modeling.
Mhm.
At the same time, even if you do a 3D model, you could turn that into a 2D in just one click.
Mm.
So yeah, it's really easy. It's really nice.
So,
Um,
so
yeah,
how
go
did
ahead.
how did you teach yourself this software?
Okay, how did I stayed home every single day, all day and night, literally, even in the weekends. I'm really serious right here. For the first half of my semester,
Mhm.
because I took this very seriously. Because they were expecting me to design a project in a software that I do not know how to use. So for the first half of the semester, I literally stayed home all the time watching these YouTube videos, um, try my best to get whatever they're asking me to do done in the best way. I have a Discord. If anyone doesn't know what Discord is, it's an app that if you're a gamer, you know what that app is for. Where all people hop in and they chat and ask each other questions and ask each other for help. So I had a lot of architectural students in that, who used Discord. So I would just hop in and be like, "Hey guys, I'm sorry for bothering you. Can you please help me on this?" I know sometimes they do, sometimes they too busy, they don't even reply back to me. But anyways, I watched a lot of videos on YouTube and I was, searching things up on Google all the time. And sometimes I even couldn't get things done because I feel like it's not that something I feel. It's actually true that Rhino is a new software. So um, people don't use it as much as they use Revit, AutoCAD, and I think even SketchUp.
Yeah.
So there are not a lot of videos on YouTube and Google that teach you how to use
Rhino.
um, Rhino, right? So sometimes I don't find the video that I'm looking for to teach me whatever I want to do.
Mm.
So I would just get whatever I can done, and then in the meeting, like the next class, I ask my instructor. I'll be like, "I'm sorry, I couldn't get this done. Can you please help me out?" She will try her best. My instructor, she will try her best to teach me and guide me through to get things done, like whatever I wanted to get done. It took me a while to get my hands on it. It was I really struggled. That's why I think people should start learning Rhino from now,
Mm.
as soon as they see this video and hear the meeting between
Yeah.
me and you. I really recommend them start to use Rhino and learn it. Even if they are a floating college, I know there are. I don't know if you guys still do the same thing, but you always give us 3 projects a semester. So if they use Revit, SketchUp, or any other software that they like, I recommend them to do at least 1 project on Rhino
Mm.
a semester, just to get used to it.
Yeah.
If they like it, if they feel comfortable using it, then I suggest them actually doing 2 projects in Rhino instead of 1.
Mm.
Because I also have a student who goes to Cal Poly, and he is in a landscape architecture major. He's in the landscape architecture department, and he said that he used SketchUp all the time. So when he transferred, he had to use Rhino
Rhino.
at Cal Poly.
Wow.
So it's not only at Woodbury. I know it's not only at Woodbury. At Cal Poly, I saw him a few weeks ago, and then I was telling him about the Rhino thing, and he said, "Yeah, well, it happened to me at Cal Poly too. I don't think Woodbury is the only university that's doing that."
Yeah.
So I asked him a question of, okay, what did you do? Because I struggled a lot. Did you struggle a lot? I was asking him. I was seeing if he struggled, if he had sources of help that I don't have, so we could exchange our sources maybe. He said, no, what I did is I use the SketchUp all the time, and then there's a tool that I have that I can switch the SketchUp file into a Rhino file. Yep, I don't recommend doing that though.
Oh.
Not at all. Not at all. Because I had incidents in class where I'd be sitting, and then my professor goes like, Mesar, can you open your Rhino file? I need to see something. And then I'll have to open it for him from my laptop, right? And on a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
So if that happened to anybody like my friend who does not know how to use Rhino or not even have it, he will get in a big trouble at moments like this, because he's basically lying,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's one thing. The second thing, I feel like architects need to learn as many softwares as they can, because in the future, I mean, I worked in 2 different internships. I had a full-time job, so I think I have enough experience to know that architects are sometimes controlled by their companies.
Yes.
Like, oh, we have this and that. You need to use these materials that we have to get whatever we tell you done. It's not like, oh, I have the assignment. I'm going to go home right now, get it done, and then I'll be back tomorrow with the assignment done. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
They have the materials. They tell you, oh, you have to get this done in AutoCAD. You have to get it done in AutoCAD.
Yeah.
You have to get this in Revit. Then you have to get it in Revit. So I feel like, or Rhino or anything. So I feel like learning Rhino is it's a great new skill for you as a student to be using. I don't want to say in the future because we are using it now.
Right.
Yeah, we are using it as students. Like
it's just another software that you can put on your resume just to.
Yeah. It's another software that you could put on your resume, and you know, it's a great software actually to use too.
Okay.
Um, Really easy to use. So I'm really trying to get people to use it right now
Good.
because they
Did you
should
did
be
you
getting.
were you able to
Yeah,
practice over the summer break?
I did practice for a little bit. Yeah, I had to because I'm not an expert at Rhino yet. So I'm trying to get myself ready for the next semester. Learning. I'm watching new videos that I didn't watch before.
Hmm.
I'm playing with it basically. Oh, let me try to do that. Let me try to do this, and nothing big though. But I'm trying to use as many tools as I can just to practice.
Good.
Um, yeah.
So any other skills you wish you would have focused on while you were at community college or have taken more seriously? So I know you talked about floor plans and site plans and development of those, um, and Rhino.
Why not?
Any other skills that you can think of that you?
Other schools, I would focus on case study. Um, just for more details. I actually really recommend a student to study the site, like in terms of studying the site is, or what kind of trees are around, or my site surrounded by, what kind of buildings, right? The car circulation,
Mm,
like where the car go, like where cars pass by, where cars come from. You know, we need to study that before designing our project. We need to think of people circulations, like where people should enter the building from and leave the building from.
right.
How many entrances should I have? Do you know?
Yeah.
So we should think about human traffic. I know we know a lot about car traffic,
Right.
when you drive on the freeway, but there are things such as human traffic too. If you design a building that is demanded by people, that a lot of people will enter, then you need to get in control of that.
Yes.
You need to control these people by studying the circulation of these people. I think we should focus on that. I think I'm saying it's too soon for those students who are at Fulton College to go deep in this, but they should think about it.
Mm,
They should give it some thoughts, like don't ignore it 100%, but also don't get too deep into it, you
right.
know?
Okay.
Just, you know, and also some other skills I think, besides Photoshop, I feel like students, because Photoshop is really important. Like
Mm,
I used Photoshop as much as I used Rhino this past semester.
okay.
That's how important Photoshop is. And I use InDesign, yeah, InDesign and Illustrator.
Okay.
Those two other softwares that you as a student should learn. And it's really great to have those softwares on your resume. Um, and yeah, softwares as Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign.
Good design.
You
Okay.
should, yeah, you should learn those as well.
Okay.
And
Any
model making, you said?
any model making? Were you able to do any model making?
Oh, online we couldn't do that.
Oh.
I have no idea why. But they didn't. We didn't do any model making online for the past semester. So I can't really talk about that much. I don't
Okay.
have any experience in that in Woodbury.
Okay. So when you transferred into second year?
Yes, I did. I transferred into second. I believe that a student could do better than me.
Mhm.
I feel like a student could transfer into
Third year.
third year. If not third year, then second semester of the second year at least.
Okay.
They could they could do that easily. Because I wasn't as great as I am right now when I was at Fullerton. So I didn't do as good as my other classmates, as you remember.
Mm,
So I feel like even though I transferred to the second year, I feel like students shouldn't take me as a role model and be like, "Oh, Masar transferred as a second year, as a second
right.
year student, then that's really good. You should do that too." No, you can't go beyond that. Like you could do
So
third.
let's expound on how someone could go beyond that. Now, looking back to how you did it, how would you change how you did it in terms of doing better for yourself
Okay,
to get better? You know what I'm saying?
that's a great question. I think besides learning the softwares that we mentioned, I think focusing on floor plans and site plans and doing those
Mhm.
as good as you can, that will take you to a better level. And also portfolios. This is the number one important thing that will get you to the next level. That will get you beyond what I've gotten to.
Right. And so
Portfolio.
to be able to focus on architecture in the community college level, is there a particular class load that you recommend taking?
A class that I recommend in taking.
No, class load, like what, like if you're taking studio class and you're taking 5 GE classes, do you recommend doing that?
No, I don't recommend doing that.
Okay,
Nope.
so what kind of class load do you recommend doing if you're
I
taking architecture?
recommend. Okay, what I recommend for the classes load for architecture students is I think four classes are the best classes number for architecture students. Maybe take well, it depends on what kind of general education classes they have. I mean, if they have math classes, that will require them to do a lot of work for that class. English classes, they make you do a lot of essays, so that will take time. So, but if you take a class like a one unit class, then 5 classes are fine. But I think for the architecture student to be successful at Fullerton and in the and then after they transfer, they should put a lot of time in that studio class.
Hmm,
You know, like
right,
because we're trying to be architects, right?
right,
So that studio class should take most of our time, right? So if you take 560 classes, including that studio class, you will probably fall behind in the studio class. So I don't recommend doing that. Um, I would rather, as personally, I would rather stay at Fullerton for one more semester and learn a lot than save one semester but not learn a lot.
right.
You
So
know
what
what I mean?
so what I'm hearing is you would rather sacrifice loading up on classes and learning what you need to learn in
Hmm.
architecture so you
Yeah.
can develop the architectural skills that you need to put
Yeah.
in that work to put into a good portfolio
Yep.
and
Right.
not only that but to be able to transfer those skills into the university. And when you're at the university, you'd be like, okay, you can think of excellent floor plans, you could think of site
Yeah.
analysis and all these
Yes.
things that you could have developed while you were at the community
Yes.
college level. And so what I'm hearing is that lowering the amount of classes at your general ed classes and spending, would you give a percentage of how much you would have rather have spent on architecture classes versus the GE classes? Like say you took 4 classes and the amount of
Classes,
time
I would spend 70%.
of your time on architecture.
70% to 75% of my time on the studio class, on my architecture classes. I'm not even joking. I'm not even exaggerating right now. I'm so serious because it's university level. Tommy, you know about this. You will agree with me. But for the students in university level, there's no joke. There's no time to play.
Right.
You know, they're not gonna sit next to you and be like, "Oh, do that." They're not gonna be teaching you. They're gonna be asking you to get things done. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. They're not gonna be teaching you at Fullerton College level. Professors teach you, right? They
Yeah.
teach you. They get you ready. They prepare you for the university level. So when you get to the university level, you don't have time to study or like you. Of course, you will learn new things, but you will do that on your own. No one will sit next to you and teach you.
Right.
So I feel like taking professors at Fullerton College an advantage for you is we should do that. Like those are one of the things that I regret.
Oh, okay.
I never sat with you and Owen as much as I was supposed to do so to learn new things. Even though you were there 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like we could access both of you anytime we really wanted.
Right.
You're not gonna have that in university. No, you're not. You're just not. You're not gonna have that in university. They're not gonna be accessible to you. You're not gonna access professors whenever you want. It's nearly impossible for you to do that. It's whenever they feel like seeing you, they will see you.
Wow.
It happened.
Big culture change.
Yes, they expect you. They expect you to know a lot of things. They expect you.
Yeah.
So I feel like putting 70% to 75% of your time at Fullerton College into that studio or any architectural classes in general, I feel like is what it is. That's how it should be.
Yeah. So in order to spread that out, you would say take an extra semester, right? Or,
Yes.
or summer classes even.
Summer classes are great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not saying students should not go out and have fun and put all their time in school. No, I'm not saying that. I'm a person that likes to have fun a lot. But what I'm saying is, yeah, like take an extra semester and learn a lot rather than,
hurrying up.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't miss out.
Yeah.
Don't miss out. You have professors at Fullerton College that know a lot. Take advantage of that. It's like I remember how you used to sit next to us and be like, "Oh, do that, do this. This is how you do this."
Yeah.
This is so important. This is how you do this.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's a big thing. You press on this. I don't know. You use that tool. It will make you this shape. This is a big thing. This is a big deal because you can't have that in university.
Right.
You can't have other students help you. I'm not saying you can't have that. You will have that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about professor as a professional knowledge because student does not know as much as professor.
Right.
So I feel like yeah. So you could still have fun while doing that. I promise you.
Right. And then that's one thing that I've always told you guys is to plan for breaks. You'll burn out, just like everybody. Work. You burn out. You plan your breaks because it's.
We're at the end we're human beings,
Yeah, you can't be productive all day, every day without any breaks. Nobody could do that.
Yep.
So that's good. That's good to know, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And so, um, what about time management? So you mentioned that.
Time time management is it's one
That's
of the
that.
issues that I was struggling with. For time, we need, I think we need to manage our time as best as we can to get projects done. And I was gonna talk about this when you mentioned about, the classes load.
Hmm.
Like for example, if you have, because what the thing about studio classes is they give you, a deadline that is 2 weeks from now to submit the project. So people or students, they procrastinate a lot. What they do is, oh, I have 2 weeks. And then half of the first week is through. They go, oh, I have a week and a half. And then the first week is over. Oh, I have 1 week to get it done. And then they start working on it probably 3 days or 4 days before the deadline. And that's a no-no.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they leave it till the last 3 or 4 days. And then they don't only have that project to get done. They probably have an essay or like a geography test or something,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe they have work to do. Like they have a part-time job and then they had to work two of these last 3 days. Who knows? So managing your time will get you through that easily, I think. Um, like, oh, today let me get this essay done, and then tomorrow I will study for the math test that I have after tomorrow. So the
Right.
first 3 days of the 2 weeks are done. I'm done with my GE classes. Now I have a week and 4 or 3 days to work on my project.
Hmm.
That should be enough, for a project that needs to be done in 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
You
Okay.
know,
Okay. So is
and
that
then
was that your style and how you managed everything?
at Woodbury, yes.
Okay.
At Fullerton, I procrastinated a lot. I regret that.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah, that's the one thing that didn't get me to compete with other students.
Mm.
I feel like they were way above me.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's okay though. For students who also think that they can't compete or like they think there are some other students who are better than them, that's fine. That's totally fine
Right.
because because people that's what I do. People have different timelines.
Right. Right. And,
Like,
and it
oh, this,
and it seemed like it was a lesson learned
yeah,
because you're looking back and there's some regret and it was a blessing that okay, now this is serious. Now I need to really focus.
yeah.
Now I really have to. This is going to be my lifestyle. This is what I'm going to do for the rest
This
of
is
my life. Yeah.
exactly. This is gonna be my life. This is what I'm living with for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So if I'm not good at it, then what else can I do?
Right. Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So I know we chose this to do it because we like it.
Hmm.
But if you think about it, we're also doing this for a living.
You're like I said, it's going to be a lifestyle. This is
It's
going
gonna
to
be a
be
lifestyle.
this is
Yeah,
going to be how you make a living, and
yeah.
you should
So
be
we
good
need to
at
get
it.
good at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad it was a blessing that you've seen that now
Yeah.
rather than
Uh,
later, rather
yep.
than when it's and you've committed to success versus failure.
Yep.
And so I'm so proud of you, Masar.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I was saying that other students should think that way. Like if they see another student that is better than them, don't feel bad. Don't feel down. It's okay. Use that person as an example. Ask him for help or her. Ask him or her for help and see how they got to that level. You know,
Right.
and try, and instead of feeling down and bad and sad, try to get to that level. Use that time.
Right. Use them as a worthy adversary. Like,
Yes.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna defeat you one day,
Yes. I'm going to see you
but
one
in a
day.
friendly way, not
In
any.
a friendly way, I know. In a
Right, right.
friendly way.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
It's a competition.
now that
Yeah.
you've completed your second year at Woodbury, um, what do you see the major differences in workload from community college to university level?
Well, in university level, they actually make this because in a private university. They make the schedule for you. I mean, you could edit it, but they actually make it for you that this is what you should be taking this semester. They make it in a way that 70% to 75% of your time should be put in that studio class.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, oh, you got that, geography class that will take 10% of your time. And then you have this class that will take, that is a one unit class that will take 5% of your time.
Got it.
So they make it in a way that 70 to 75% of your time, that's why I was saying 70 to 75% of your time,
Is
70
dedicated.
to 75, yeah, 70 to 75 of your time used for that studio class.
Wow. Wow, that is
Because
that's awesome. So you could develop your skills.
yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome.
I love
So,
it. I love it.
and
Um,
that's the difference between Woodbury University and Fullerton College. At Fullerton, you made your own schedule, and then you probably, a lot of people were thinking, oh, I need to get this done as soon as possible. Let me get 5 to 60 classes this semester, and then it gets crazy.
yeah.
And halfway through, and even doing that, doing that will make you not think properly about how to design a project.
Mhm.
Like you'll be thinking, and instead of thinking how to make this project as great as possible, you'll be thinking, how can I get this project done as soon as possible? That's a
I
big
like
difference.
I like the way you put that
Yeah,
because that's two different motivations.
two different motivations. Yeah,
One motivation is for greatness. The other one is I just need to get this done. It's
I
desperation.
know.
It's desperation versus greatness. And
Yeah,
if you're going to do this for the rest of your life, why wouldn't you shoot for greatness versus desperation? And I like the way you put that. Very well put.
thanks.
Uh,
So yeah,
would you say that the workload, the amount of work, and how much work they throw at you in the architecture program at Woodbury is more so than what you felt at community college, or around the same amount of work?
um, in terms of work, I think so. Because what I remember from Fullerton is you guys gave us a project, you know, like, oh, design a coffee shop, right? You got 3 weeks of a whole month to design it. That's it. But I feel like in university level, they want to see the process, of you designing that coffee shop. Like, oh, Mesa, where did you get at? Show me. And that happens every single meeting.
Okay.
Like every 3 days, every 3 days.
Yeah.
Like I'd be designing my coffee shop and they'd be like, okay, Mesa, where did you get at? I'd be like, oh, I'm doing the floor plan. And then, they'd be like, no, you have to do this, this, and that. You're doing something wrong right here. What's your motivation? What's your inspiration? They'd be asking you a lot of those questions. Um, so they put a lot of work on you
Okay.
only in 3 days. Can you imagine that? Like, oh, I need in 3 days, I need you to get me
This, and
4
this.
elevations done
Okay.
in 3 days. Can you imagine that? In
Yeah.
3 days, I need four elevations done. And then for the next 3 days, after you get your elevation done and show them to us, and then we approve them, For the next 3 days, we need a site, a floor plan, or floor plans, depends on how many stories your building is. Um, like materials. Like they be asking you to do all these things in 3 days, even though you're doing them in 3 days and they're not the final draft, but they still want to see them and they grade you on them.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
So
oh,
you're constantly need to show progress towards
yeah,
something.
you
That's
need to
good.
show progress every 3 days, non-stop.
So that's the difference, the amount of pressure that's put on you.
The amount of pressure and work that's put, yes.
Okay. Okay. Now you got a lot of your general education out of the way at community college.
Mhm.
Do you recommend in terms of like, say this is this question is if you were to answer this towards like somebody that's thinking of going into architecture from the high school, do you recommend that they get their general education done and their foundation of architecture done through community college and then transfer, or go straight to university?
Well, that it depends of that person income situation.
Okay.
Going
Well, I
to
mean, either way, you're going to save money, right?
yeah, either way, yeah, that's true. Either way, you're gonna save money. But I would recommend going to community college because they teach you, they prepare you for university level, but high schools don't.
Mm,
You see,
yeah.
so even though I think going straight to university will save you time,
Hmm.
that it will save you time, but you wouldn't. Like, you will struggle a lot. You probably have to move and live on campus alone when you are 18. I feel like taking classes that are hard because taking a geography class at Fullerton College is different from taking the same geography class at university.
Yeah.
At university is going to be 10 times harder probably than taking it at Fullerton.
Right.
Imagine doing that. Imagine taking that geography class at a university level without even being ready for it. You're
And
not
on,
even.
and on top of that, you're taking studio classes.
Yes. So you're not educationally prepared to do that, sir.
So you would definitely think that
I would definitely think
community college is help building towards that.
Yes. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that high schools, even though I went to a high school here and they told us that they try to prepare us for a university level. They don't do that.
Mm.
They prepare you for a community college level, yes, maybe. But then community college prepares you for university.
Got it.
So if you jump from high school to university, I don't think you are prepared enough for that level.
For that level.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious because I don't want this. I'm gonna throw this video up on YouTube, and I want anybody who's considering architecture, whether it be middle schooler, high schooler, or even somebody that's exploring in the community college level. Like, I want to be able to answer these questions about architecture and architecture school, and education in general. And so these are solid answers.
Thank you.
Anything else you can think of in terms? So like, you don't have to take any general education while you're going through the program now.
Well,
or
since
some
I went to a private university, they like to make money out of people.
Oh, I see.
So they'll be like, because I took all the English classes at Fullerton College, literally all of them. I actually had one poetry class that I needed to take, and then that's it. I'll be done with English classes. But I didn't feel the need of me taking that poetry class. So when I transferred, they're like, "Oh, there's one more English class that you need to take," and I'm like, "I took all the English classes possible at Fullerton College." They said, "Oh yeah, we feel like this class would prepare you better as an architect. It will improve and progress your writing skills." So I'm like, okay. And then when I took it, it turned out to be easier than the class that I took, the English class that I took in high school. Imagine that. It was super easy.
Oh, okay.
So I felt like it was a writing class. All what we did is write about articles, and
Hmm.
they gave us some topics that we had to write essays upon. But anyways, it was an easy class. It wasn't
Okay.
that hard.
Okay.
Um, but I feel like more of their general education classes are related to architecture, that you actually need to take them for architecture.
Right.
You know, like they will teach you. I took a class about environmental science.
Mm.
About the environment basically. I feel like we as architects we need to know about that.
Oh, absolutely.
So even though that's general education, but we still need it. I took an art class. Art the art class that I took is actually it taught us about buildings that were built in a beautiful way or in a weird way, or buildings that are you know hundreds of years old. So I feel like that is related as well. So the general education's university is it's not as bad as the ones that you take at Fullerton College,
Okay.
because they are related to whatever you are studying.
Okay. Well, that's good to
Yeah.
know as well. That
Yeah.
they help your architectural education as well.
Mhm.
So
They do help it.
good. Good.
Because I feel like I want to say this. I worked at an architectural firm and an engineering firm as well. And in both firms, we had to write to other companies, we had to write to other employees, manager, other architects, So we need those writing skills. We need those
Oh, absolutely.
speaking skills. Um, so yeah, it's not bad to learn about these things.
No, no, these skills need to be developed and they need to be
Yeah.
refined. And I remember a lot of students they cringed when I said you have to get up and present, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to." Yeah,
I
no.
know.
You'll be fine. You'll
This-
get over it.
yeah, it shouldn't be an issue,
No.
because if that is an issue, it's not good.
So overall, your education through second year, how how did how did you feel about what you learned?
How do I feel about what I know?
What you learned throughout the second year? Like, did it blow your mind?
It did.
Did it completely change your thought process about what architecture is? And talk to me
Yeah,
about that.
it did. I have learned that designing is basically 20% of architecture. At first, to be honest, at 14, I thought all what architects had to do is design,
Right.
and that's not the case. That's not. I have learned that architects have design to design. They have to study the site. And when I say study the site, it's not something that you do in 5 minutes. It's a big process studying the site. Case study, getting, designing the building itself, because they gave us one project last semester where they gave us an actual site in Vienna.
Mhm.
We had to study that site. And they gave us another site in LA. Let me not go too far. They gave us another site in LA. We had to study that site. Oh, what can we build a skyscraper on it? Or maybe there are a lot of earthquakes that hit that area that we can't do that, you know?
Right.
We had to figure out that ourselves. And then they wouldn't tell you if what you're doing is wrong until the presentation day.
Oh,
That's how they prepare you to be a good architect, I guess. You
wow.
know, they
Yeah,
make
yeah.
they let you figure out every single thing by yourself. Even trees. Can you imagine like, oh, what kind of trees are surrounded? Or the place is surrounded by
Right.
the soil, all of that. That's what a site study is. It takes a lot. Circulation, car circulation, people circulation. As I said, so I have learned a lot, and I have learned that architecture is not only designing. Designing is part of it. However, is 20% of architecture is designing.
Right. The rest is
So
making sure that
the rest is making sure.
everything's feasible, the
Yeah,
soil's right, you know, you're not impeding traffic, you're not
yeah,
impeding foot traffic.
yeah.
Um,
Even Professor Tommy, even choosing the materials based on what kind of weather is in that area,
in
and
that region, right?
yeah, in that region, yes.
Yeah, very,
Um,
very important thing to know. Because technically in Los Angeles, we're a desert.
yeah,
And a lot of people don't know that. They think we're by the
they don't,
beach, we're
and
Hollywood. No, we're
it's
technically a
not,
desert.
it's a desert, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know that. And um, so when people want to choose materials, they're like, whoa,
I know.
you want metal in the middle of a desert?
And then that does not work, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, choosing materials is also I have never thought at 14 I always thought, oh, let me choose any material that I like, any material that I think it will fit perfectly with the building that I'm designing, without thinking of the weather, without thinking of the surroundings,
Mm,
without any thinking of any of that. But at Woodbury, I think no, like my thought process is
changed.
changed, and it has gotten bigger.
Good.
You
Good.
know,
That's beautiful.
that's yeah, it's
Oh,
beautiful.
I love it. I love it.
Even the
Okay.
presentations, the way you present your project is really important.
Yeah.
So that's part of the architecture too. Like after designing, well, even if you think your project is good enough, then present it that way so other people see it as good as you see it.
Right.
You know, um, so
Right.
it's a lot. There's a lot to it besides
Right.
design.
Right. And then, part of that salesmanship is, confidence and speaking.
Yeah,
And when you're speaking, use precise words
right,
to
right.
describe exactly how
Yep,
you feel about your project and what's going on in your project. And
right.
I know a lot of students I know with their nerves, especially, at the community college level, it's they have to overcome their nerves first is what I feel that they once they've accomplished that, then I
Mhm.
could then I could help them start working on refining that skill and really packaging it well to where it's just beautiful presentation,
Yep,
comes out crisp. So
yep.
um, well, that's good to know. That's good to know. So anything else you could say about Woodbury that why did you choose Woodbury out of all the different schools?
I chose it Well, at first, to be honest, I chose it because it was the only choice that I had, the only university that I was accepted in, because
Okay.
Cal Poly had a big load on it
Hmm.
because people stopped applying for because of COVID,
Oh.
you
Okay.
know, and then they started applying again, all of them at one point, like the graduates of year of COVID and the past of the year before. All
Yeah.
these students started applying to, and that's what they said. They
I see.
sent me an email that said, "Oh, we have a lot of like our architecture department is now full. We can't accept any more students. You
Okay.
might want to try next year." And I'm like, "No, I'm not wasting a whole year. You know, let me just."
Yeah.
And at that time, I got accepted at Woodbury, so
Okay.
I just went there. I visited campus, and
Now, Woodbury has two campuses. Which
it has
campus?
one in San Diego and one
Right.
in Burbank, LA.
Yeah.
I do not recommend going to the one in San Diego.
Okay.
If you get accepted at Woodbury, go to the one in LA.
Okay.
Period. Forget that they have another campus. I visited that campus,
Yeah.
and it's not the best. But the one in Burbank, LA, I'm not talking about the way they teach. The future, the instructors there are
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
are really great. I'm saying about how campus looks like.
Oh, okay.
It's not fun. It's a warehouse.
Oh, I see.
That's what it is. But in Burbank, it's a really beautiful, even though it's not as big as other universities, but it's really beautiful. Buildings are nice, and uh, the area, like everything around you is greenish. You have a lot of trees and mountains, and
Okay.
it's campus is really beautiful in LA. So
Good.
I recommend. I don't want you going to San Diego and lose that. So if
Oh,
San
I see.
Diego, yeah, San Diego, if they had at least the same campus or at least close to it, I would say yeah, go to San Diego if you want because it's really close to the beach. The one in
Okay.
San Diego, it's really close. It's like the location of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
San Diego campus is amazing, but I feel like the campus itself is not amazing.
Oh, I see. I see. It didn't
You know,
inspire you, so it didn't inspire you like the Burbank one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it did not inspire me as the Burbank one. I even took my father to both of campuses,
Yeah.
and he said the same thing. He
Dad.
said the same thing. He's like, I
Dad.
don't want
Dad was
you.
like, I don't want you here. I want you here.
Yeah, he's like, I know San Diego is a no, and I was like, yeah, I agree with you, Dad. So yeah, I ended up choosing the one in LA.
Good. Good.
But I feel even like there's another reason to it. Like there are all these good and great architectural companies in LA.
Yeah.
And then so if you live in LA or go to school in LA, you will get connected to those companies.
Oh yeah.
You will get connected to people that work in these companies.
Absolutely.
You will get connected to professors that work in these companies.
Yeah.
So you will get a lot of good and big connections. I don't think you can do that as much in San Diego.
To LA, no, that connection to LA, probably not. It might.
Probably.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But definitely in proximity, Burbank is right here. You'll definitely, because of proximity, we'll have
Yeah.
definitely some connections. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. But that's good. That's good. All right. And are you excited for this next semester? This will be third year.
Yeah. I am.
Good.
Yeah. I
Good.
am really excited because I'm gonna go back in person. Just a different experience. It will be a different experience because I haven't attended Woodbury in person yet.
Okay.
The
Now,
past semester.
are you going to live on campus? Or
I am not. I was planning on living on campus, but I was like, because it's a 50 minutes drive from my home to campus, and I think it's a lot.
Yeah.
Losing 2 hours of your time a day is a lot. You could use these 2 hours, doing homework or
Yeah.
working on a project.
Yep.
But I thought maybe let me see how this semester goes. If I struggle a lot, if I see that I'm losing too much time that I could use for my, education, then I will live on campus next semester.
Mm.
And maybe we could do a meeting and see the difference. I'll tell you
Yeah,
about the difference
yeah,
when
yeah.
I,
So
when I experience that.
let's definitely talk after third year, and
Yeah,
we'll do this again.
yeah, we will do this again.
Okay, sounds good. Well, Masar, thank you so much, and thank you
Yeah,
for all the insights on what it was like to transfer, what it was like to be there and as a second year student, and thanks again. We'll talk to you next year and see how
yeah.
third year goes, and then I wish you all the best, and I
Thank
wish.
you. Thank you so much. I hope that I gave some, good information to all of you.
I'm sure
And
you did.
I hope you all benefit from it.
I
And thank you so much.
oh, all right, Masar. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.